IVM.
TFG Football is an IVM production, and you can also check out their other awesome shows like Simplified, a show that explains intense topic from around the world and simplifies it for you so that you can appear cooler in front of your friends.
You're listening to TFG Football.
Hello everyone, welcome to a brand new episode of the TFG Indian Football Podcast. It's your host for today, that's me Kevin. I am joined by Chiranjeev. Siju is travelling to Kochi, and you know this was coming because the World Cup is on, and we've got guys travelling all over the place, but I need to stay here. Somebody has to be.
Guess where I am, Kevin?
Are you in your hometown, Purulia?
No, I'm in New Delhi.
You've landed?
Yeah, I just got there this morning. I'm staying in Old Delhi. The stadium is just 7-8 kilometers away from here, and I can't wait to go over there because I need to pick up my accreditation and tickets for my parents, and I have to meet some local fans and everything. The day is looking up.
Wow. It's 2 or 3 days to go for the World Cup, and things are heating up everywhere. So we get you things all over as we travel to the World Cup venues. And before we get into some topics that we've got as a surprise, that will come to you in the second half of the show. In the first half, we've got lots of action that's happening from the I-League, the ISL, local leagues, and it's obviously the pre-season time, and lots of matches, lots of tournaments that are happening. Clubs want to get themselves acquainted with the new squad. Coaches want to try out the new players, their formation, tactics, etc. And there's not a single team that's at the moment which is not gearing up for the pre-season. Chiranjeev, what all do we have for the first half of this show today?
Yeah, well, we are going to look into the kind of pre-season that all the clubs are going through, ISL and I-League, and it looks like everybody's into it already. We have everybody's attention is towards the FIFA Under-17 World Cup right now, but obviously ISL and I-League both are starting in November, and all the teams are getting into it. And something unusual we are seeing here is that a lot of I-League clubs and ISL teams are playing friendlies against each other in the run-up to their own respective leagues. And this is we've seen this before. Like Mumbai City played against Mumbai FC at Cooperage. We had East Bengal traveling to Balewadi to play a friendly against Pune City. But those were a bit different, and they were scarce in numbers. But this time it seems like all the clubs involved have their full teams ready already. They are already going through their motions, and they will really go in for a strength of test against each other when they play each other in the friendlies.
So it's like a crossfire that's happening between the teams of the ISL and the I-League. This is expected. We are hearing about some friendlies that are happening between the ISL and the I-League teams. Now, this is the first time that we will be seeing the ISL and the I-League running simultaneously, and what a great friendly to have between teams of both leagues playing against each other in pre-season in the friendlies. Chiranjeev, is this a good idea?
It's a good idea because you want to test your strength against the best, and the clubs like East Bengal. East Bengal are playing friendlies against Chennai FC and Jamshedpur FC. Okay, and when you have both of these teams, Chennai and Jamshedpur, they are assembling for the first time, while East Bengal have been playing already. They just won the CFL, so it's a good chance for both of them to sort of adjust to the upcoming leagues. East Bengal will be using more foreigners in the I-League, so they got a chance to breed them in, and Jamshedpur FC have just assembled. They are in Kolkata right now. They will play against East Bengal and then move off to Thailand for the further pre-season practice. So this is going to be a first look at their own squads. So yeah, it's a good arrangement that they are making with each other. Good mutual engagement, if you want to put it that way. Same thing is happening with Minerva Punjab. They are playing Delhi Dynamos. So those are the two biggest clubs from North India right now. Minerva Punjab in the I-League and Delhi Dynamos in ISL. So yeah, they're playing each other, and that's good for both of them. They will just know exactly where they are in terms of strength. So yeah, it's not like this team wins and that team loses. That says everything about those teams. But this is where you get to experiment, against each other and with your own team. So it's a beneficial thing. Yeah.
And also considering, right now it's happening as a pre-season friendly, but now that the AFC Cup spot is also on the line for the winners of the ISL, could it mean a possibility that there will be a tournament featuring both the I-League and the ISL teams playing a common tournament?
Yeah. Well, there is already I think the Super Cup is happening. It will happen in April and May. It's going to be between 4 teams from ISL and 4 teams from I-League. So they already have a common cup tournament to play in. And obviously we know that the I-League champions, Aizawl FC, if they cannot progress to the group stages of ACL, they will come down to AFC Cup group stage, where there will be Bengaluru FC. And Bengaluru FC are there because they won the Federation Cup, but now they are an ISL team. So, yeah, there will be lots of competitive interactions as the season progresses. But right now it's about just getting their squads in order. So you have other teams who are doing their own thing, like Malabar FC and Mohun Bagan will participate in this cup tournament called the Sikkim Governors Gold Cup. It used to be very big and used to draw competitions from all over South Asia. In the past years, it sort of simmered down. But now that we have, the ISL and I-League seasons pushed back, so the interest around these cup tournaments has gone exponentially up, and all the clubs want to use this as a platform to test their teams. So we will see Malabar FC playing with a team that resembles their I-League squad for the first time in Sikkim Governors Gold Cup. And they will face off against Mohun Bagan, who have been one of the title contenders for years now. One of the most consistent teams in I-League. So that's a very mouth-watering match to watch out for. We have others doing the same thing. There is Goa Pro League, where FC Goa's developmental side is playing against Dempo, Salgaonkar, Sporting Club de Goa, Churchill Brothers, Vasco. There was just a match between Vasco and Dempo, which was a thriller. So, yeah, you can say that neither of those old Goan giants are playing at the national level anymore. But FC Goa will look at the developmental side and will think that, okay, if we get 2-3 good players out of this GPL side, we may groom them or include them in the ISL squad when the transfer window opens again. So all of those calculations are happening. All of those equations are being worked out in the preseason as we speak. Aizawl FC are still playing in the Mizoram Premier League, and they're not winning that much. They won 2 matches and then they lost again. So it's looking, not so great for them, but they're moving along. They're trying out new players, new teams, and new combinations and all of that. And they will do that until they get into I-League, because that's the one that matters, right? Yeah. Shillong Premier League also, Shillong Rajong are doing the same thing. So it's a really good time for these local tournaments and these smaller cup tournaments, which are suddenly increasing in significance and having higher participation. Gold Cup, by the way, is getting participation from teams from Nepal, teams from all over India, the Army Red teams. I think Army Red and Army Blue, both of them are playing. So it's a nice medley of semi-professional elite of Indian clubs, the professional Indian clubs, and some foreign clubs who are coming in. Yeah. So it just looks so. this is what a pre-season should look like.
Right, and just to consider now with the pre-season already in place, and things are working faster than you would expect, because it's just 1.5 month for the tournament to begin, because we do not have any clarity of the I-League, but ISL sure has put out an entire calendar that will be running from
I-League
November.
will probably begin. I-League will probably begin ahead of ISL. If I'm not very mistaken, because they will want to finish it before the playoffs of ISL happen. So expect I-League to begin by the second week of November.
So also, does that mean due to the pre-season happening, will it also mean the national team players might be missing out on that?
Not really. The national team camp is getting all the players that they need. Nobody is, just saying anything about it. The national team camp is actually in place right now. They're practicing in Mumbai. They will be playing in Bangalore come 11th. Most of the players at this point are from ISL. There are just a couple here and there from East Bengal and as well, which I expect that to change. By the end of this season, I expect quite a few players from let's say Aizawl or Lajong or Mohun Bagan or East Bengal to get called up, especially by the time we make a squad for the next sub-championship, which takes place in Bangladesh in September. But either way, when you have a pre-season, there is no justification in any way to not send players to the national camp. And you don't even want to do that, because your player is there in the national team camp. That's an honor for your club. So why would you be going the way of that? Unless there is some weird situation like that one time when Devjit Majumdar
I was expecting that to come. Yes.
Yeah, that was a weird situation. Similar weird situation with SC Goa, stopping Mandar and Romeo from going to the national team. But those are really outliers. Indian clubs have more or less been cooperative. ISL had some trouble. Like I think some of the ISL coaches back in 2015 and 16 were making noises about releasing players, but they did. All the players got released for the national team camp without incident. So, so far so good.
This actually is beneficial for the club and the country as well. When you have everything spaced out, there is enough pre-season for the clubs for before the tournament starts, and for the national team, and the due breaks when required. So I think it's all coming together. This has never been like this before, and I hope eventually when you have one league, right now it's just the simultaneous league that's going on. When you actually merge the league, things will even be beneficial for both the club and country.
It will be way more. It will be way more beneficial. So expecting that ISL and I-League go through a partial or full merger in the summer, and we have an ISL League 1, League 2 structure next season, we can expect August to be a very active month. There will be local leagues, some cup tournaments. In September, India will play in Bangladesh, and that's when you will see all the developmental sides and other leftover club sides who will play in the cup tournaments. Maybe Durand will become big again. Maybe Bordoli will become big again. Maybe Sikkim Gold Cup will happen a bit earlier, because September we have a sub-championship. Right after that, the ISL season will start, and probably League 1 and League 2 as well. So, it won't, they're not going to wait till November. They're going to start off well before October, I think. So, that's how it's going to be.
Yeah, that's great. So, on that note, let's head into a break. And on the other side, we've got a surprise for you. I'll not reveal it as of now. Come back after the break.
Long, long ago, not in Bethlehem, but in a place nearby, there was a wonderful birth of a huge show, which I like to call Cyrus Says, a show that encapsulates everything in human history, from the first Homo sapien to the last Homo sapien, who's traversed the entire world and then come back to India. This is a show which tells you everything about everything. If you want to know, avoid Google, come to us. It's called Cyrus Says. Get new episodes every Monday on the IVM Podcast app or wherever you get your podcasts on. You get one banana free with every podcast. Right, I'll just check that.
Welcome back, guys, after the break. And as we promised, there's a little surprise for you. Now, this comes all the way from Mizoram, and the guy who we will be listening to is in conversation with Chiranjit. He's none other than John, who has been on the show earlier. That was a historic moment that we talked about as well. Going into making history, and here he is back again. He's written a book, and Chiranjit, would you like to tell us more about that?
Yeah, so he's written a book about the journey of Mizoram football. Okay, and if you want a very in-depth look at how football has evolved in a major footballing state like Mizoram, this is one book that you have to read. It's called Savun Hampuar by John Zothansanga. So John has been with us before. He was talking about, as you said, as well as winning the league. So this book covers that, but it goes into detail about how slowly, from village-based tournaments, slowly the Mizo footballers started becoming professional, following the examples of Mama. And then, just more and more people started making their presence felt in the Indian professional footballer circuit. And then Mizoram won the Santosh Trophy, and Mizoram Premier League happened, and from there it just went up. So it's that journey of Mizoram football that he details in that book. And it's a very recommended read if you want an in-depth view of the state's journey. So let's head into the conversation with him. He talks about his experience writing the book and some other relevant topics in Indian football. So let's listen to him. So we are speaking again to John Zothansanga, who we spoke to a few months earlier. He was featured on the podcast. He's a eminent sports writer for the Mizo Daily Vanglaini, and he's here on a very special occasion. So his book on the history of Mizoram football was just published a few days ago during a Mizoram Premier League match, no less. So, congratulations on your publication of the book, man.
Thank you, Chiranjit. Thank you so much.
Okay, so first of all, the book is called Savun Hampuar. What does Savun Hampuar mean?
Savun Hampuar is, you can translate it into the word called football.
Yeah.
Savun Hampuar is the meaning of football in Mizo, watch or whatever. So it's just like Savun Hampuar, it just translates into football. That's it. I mean, even that letter we used to play is not the exact what we call Savun, but it's a bit different. But we call the football Savun Hampuar.
Okay.
So even this word is not a very common among the Mizomians. It was like a word we used a long time back. So I was just trying to make popularize that this word among the Mizos again.
So it's kind of like how in rural India cricket is still called bat ball, in some areas. So it sounds like that. So you've been working on this book for a very long time, right? I mean, last time we met, you said you were working on it. So how long has it been in the making?
So it took me around 15 months to complete the book.
So
around 15 months. Yeah, say what?
So when you started, did you have any idea that you would be including a National League championship story into it?
Actually, the first thing when I started writing for any newspaper, I came to realize that we the Mizo people are very. I mean, I saw the progress of Mizoram football. So, I mean, as a kid, I used to watch every local league in Lamur and different places of Mizoram. Okay, during the time, the league was not very well organized. Okay, and even a very less crowd also we can say. So, but when I entered Vanglaini and the football was. Especially local football was already very popular in Mizoram. Yeah. So we had a guest from different parts of India who came to wanting to know more about the football in Mizoram, how we played, how we developed the game, and different aspects we are taking. So I came out to the thought that why don't we just publish the book written in English, so everyone coming outside from the state can just read the book and read about the Mizo people, the Mizo people and this about this football. So I started writing. During the time, I've never thought of winning the I-League, which we did last year. Okay, during the time we won the Santos Trophy, and that was the biggest achievement we had during the time. Okay, and we already played I-League, and playing I-League itself, even though we are relegated, that is a huge achievement for the Mizoram people. So I was trying to put all those things in the book, and when I was writing, we became the champions of the I-League. So I included even those things again, and so then. The book is all about how the Mizoram Premier League was invented and how we win the Santos Trophy and how ISL FC win the I-League and how they were reinstated after being relegated in their first season itself.
So obviously I read the book. It's a really good book, and I think it has great value for information or being a first-hand or first source of information, the detailed stats that are presented in the book. So was it a bit of a task for you to just go around and collect all that information in the first place? How did you source this book?
Actually, being a sport journalism, it was not that a big task to come up with this because the biggest challenge is about collecting the previous records in Santos Trophy and all. We first played the Santos Trophy in 1999, and there was no record we maintained regarding the Mizoram state performance. Okay, so I have to take back all those things. So to do that, sometimes I'll just spend the whole night looking for just one goal scorer who scored the goals for Mizoram and all. So, I just want to go in detail so much. So I'm looking for even the goal scorer for just one match, and that is I think the biggest step as the author of this book. And regarding the I-League, I was present in every of the pre and the post-match conference, and I watched every I-League match which was held here in ISL.
Yeah.
So it was not that big task to collect all the data and write all this, because from the very first time I already got all the materials I needed. So, and I think the biggest challenge was collecting the Santos Trophy records.
Yeah. So the very transformation that one can see when you are going through the books. Now it's like Mizoram is participating in one Santosh Trophy after another, but they're losing to Punjab, Bengal, even Manipur here and there, and then slowly just the rise. Now it's knockouts of Santosh Trophy. Now it's like almost qualifying for the I-League, then qualifying for the I-League, then going further and suddenly just reaching the peak. How has this journey been for you? Maybe I understand this may be a very stereotypical question that might be coming to Mizo football fans now. That how was this journey for you? Like this continuous upwards journey.
Okay, this is a very, very emotional one, I mean, like as I said before, when we won the Santos Trophy, even winning the Santos Trophy itself is like winning the World Cup for like it was like celebrating winning the World Cup for us. I mean, I said before we entered before we win that Santos Trophy, the treatment was just the quarter final, and sometimes we even pulled out of the tournament because of the lack of funds. Okay, so that was the stage where we used to be, but we won the Santos Trophy, and even that was the biggest. Even that itself was one of the proudest moments for us as a Mizo football lovers. So, but then Mizoram Premier League happened. The Mizoram Premier League happened, and we can say even Santos Trophy, even that the success of Mizoram team in Santos Trophy is all because of the MPL. And even ISL FC will not have been exist today if NPL is not here. I mean, ISL FC was when there were long years ago, but it was reinstated after the NPL was invented only. So even ISL FC success all because of the Mizoram Premier League. And I mean, going through all this as a football enthusiast and even not as a journalist, I mean, it was a very, very emotional one, and I think there is even more to come. Now, ISL FC is preparing to play the AFC Champions League, so I think we still have lots more to come.
So once that happens, we might expect a second book from you. Savun Hampuar 2, Battleground Asia, or something like that. So, so how has just going through this laborious process of writing a book? What is one incident or words or some aspect of this entire epic story that you came across that touched you most? Can you single out one such story for us?
So story from the book, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then I think winning, as I said before, winning the I-League is the biggest achievement I have for Mizoram football. So as I said before, as I wrote down in my book, Portugal will always recall that Eder goal to win the Euro 2016, and Germany might have Mario Götze when he won them the World Cup, beating Argentina. That substitution. So that too was the huge one of the huge substitution in the world football. And if for the Mizo people, the biggest substitution, let's say the biggest history in the football of Mizoram is that substitution in the football and in the match between Shillong Lejong and ISL FC in Shillong. William Kevin, he scored that goal, and I mean that confirmed that we win the I-League. And so I mean that was the biggest point. That was I think the thing I would like to highlight from this book, and that was the biggest. I mean, one of the, let's say, the biggest moment in the football history of Mizoram.
Yeah, and one of the magical moments in the long arcing story that your book tells. So thanks so much, John, for speaking to us again. And but just before we let you go, Mr. Tetia Amar, the magic man of Mizoram football, although he doesn't like to be called all that, the MFA secretary, he inaugurated your book on live TV. So how was that?
There was a great thing. How can I don't know how much to express my happiness on that. I mean, there was a great thing, very great.
All right, man. Thanks once again for joining us. So you're looking forward to the Under-17 World Cup?
Yeah, let's see.
I was actually wondering how come 8 Manipuri players are there and less Mizo players. What happened? How come Manipuri players are beating Mizo players at that level? Yeah.
Manipur players, actually are beating us. There is only one Mizo player. So we take. What I would like to say is, we the Mizo people take this as a challenge. I don't have anything to say against the Manipur players or whatever. It's just that the management or that 7 Manipur players are better than another Mizo boys. So that's it. So this is the biggest challenge. Let's see. In India, India will now apply for the Under-20 World Cup.
Oh, okay. So obviously,
if we got that, we'll see more Mizo players in there now.
Definitely.
This is a challenge for Mizo.
Okay, so that would also be hopefully part of the story that you tell in Savun Hampuar too. So looking forward to the next book from you, man, because the little bit of writing that I get to read, because most of your writing is in Mizo, in that newspaper. I'm a big fan of your writing, and keep it up, man.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, all right, man. So thanks.
All right, that was some interesting topics that we touched upon. Chiranjeev, that was great talking to him.
Yeah, he's a good friend. We keep meeting when I go to ISL. I'm hoping he comes over to Kolkata to watch the Under-17 World Cup final. So, let's see.
Yeah, and also what I can gather from this conversation is, the world notices when you do something big. But that big does not happen overnight. It's a collective effort of a very long time of efforts that are put in from various people. It's not a one man effort that gets this, and little things make up, and eventually you get that big picture, and that's what led to ISL winning the I-League.
Yeah, definitely, because see, a lot of things have been written about Mizoram football at this point, and a lot of things will be written, but I don't remember any other piece of work that has gone this deep into it, and and importantly, this comes from somebody who has been following Mizo football all his life, and he's been engaging with the local fan communities. He's been a journalist in ISL itself. So he's just painted a picture that I think is very rare and not many people could do at this point. So I'm just glad I got to read that book.
Right. All right. So that was it. That was a surprise bit that we had for you all today. And if you're listening to us on YouTube, do not forget to like, share, subscribe, and not to forget comment. And you can also listen.
And also, guys, please try to ignore the fact that the interview was mentioned in the title of the video, and it was not a surprise at all for you. So.
All right. And if you're listening to us on the Android devices, do not forget to download IVM Podcast app, which is also available on iOS. And you can listen to the podcast on various podcasting apps like SoundCloud, iTunes, etc. We will get you more updates on various topics on Indian football. Stay tuned, guys. We'll catch you tomorrow. Bye.
That was Tantric Steve from Hansraj College, Delhi, performing at IIT Bombay's Mood Indigo. Just like them, there's a lot of new talent and art coming out of colleges all across India, but unfortunately most of this goes completely unnoticed or ignored. To fix this, we started ATKT.in. Hi, I'm Ankur, I'm a musician and a rapper, and I found that one of the best things about being an artist myself is finding new talent. Through ATKT.in, Tanya, my colleague who's a dancer, and our whole team really is putting all of our efforts into discovering and promoting all the coolest talent that's coming out of colleges all across India. And this goes up on our website, our social media, TV, radio, and now, of course, this podcast with IVM. Make sure you go to our website, support the talent with your likes, your shares, your comments. All of that really matters. Go ahead, check it out. ATKT.in.
एक्सक्यूज मी भैया, एक्सक्यूज मी.
बोलिए मैडम.
मेन्यू में क्या है?
मेन्यू में सीन अनसीन है, पॉडकास्ट है, ऑन कोर्स है, साइरस है, मेड इन इंडिया, रीडिस्कवरी प्रोजेक्ट, एम्पावरिंग सीरीज, सेक्स वैक्स है, IVM लाइक्स है, सिंप्लीफाइड है, कीपिंग इट क्वियर है, थिंग्स एंड डेस्टिनेशंस है, माय नेबर सकरबर्ग है और द फैन गराज है. आपको क्या चाहिए?
एक बार रिपीट कर देंगे क्या?
रिपीट नहीं करता हम. आप जाओ IVMpodcast.com पे और सुनो ये सब, या फिर डाउनलोड करो उनका ऐप. सब आपकी उंगलियों पे.